Is all that we see or seem but a dream within a
Within a
dream,
dream.
Ginger? Is it?
Let's ask Edgar Allan Poe.
Oh, okay.
Is it just me? Or is it getting crazier out there?
What up, my fine fellow Antonio Bayans? Or whatever. I don't know. Listen, I can't do Adrian Barbeau.
No, don't.
Listen,
You are no
Antonio.
Stevie Wayne.
Welcome to the Late Late Horror Show. What's going on? I'm Dino, and that's Ginger. What's going on, Ginger?
Hi, everybody.
Yes, as always, we're here to talk about a movie. This one's the Fog, 1980, written by John Carpenter, directed by John Carpenter, also co-written by Deborah Hill, his partner at the time, who was his ex. And then he went on and he moved on to Adrian Barbeau, and then they were sleeping together and they were having safe sex, so it was all good, above the line stuff. But welcome everybody to the chat. Connie says, Ginger darling, what is going on? Sam Barker, Edward Stewart, Dave Plouffe. Hey. Speaking of Dave Plouffe, we got a Christmas Eve commentary coming up of Clue. Haven't done a
Dino
commentary.
keeps trying to squeeze me out. I think he's trying to tell me something. He's always trying
You're going to have to stop that lady. Anyways, I'm not squeezing nobody. Listen, New Year's Eve, we're going to do the Clue. We're going to do.
The Clue.
We're going to play the game. The Clue is what we're going to do, me and Dave. And it's going to be fun. And I'm going to guess no, not the hammer, but I'm going to guess. I'm lost. I lost it today, you guys, already. Before we even went on stream, I'm out of it.
Okay, well, remember you promised that I could go through my little...
fell out of a tree and the doctor gave me something. That's all I know. But anyways.
Hi, everybody. It's nice to see everybody.
Yeah. Hey, WW. I didn't really fall out of a tree. I'm just joking, you guys. I'm being my silly self. Edward Stewart, what's going on? I know Edward has the VHS of this, but yes, this is the Fog, and it's we'll get into all the characters.
You can blame it on me. You can blame it on me. I'll take your rap for this. This was on me.
I'm not blaming nothing. This is a good movie. This is a very good movie. If it wasn't for the story, the kind of like the ghost pirate story, these stars are so lackluster.
I have some stuff to tell you.
Yeah, I know. I can't wait to hear what you got. But hey, Zardoz, what's going on? I get to be Professor
Chris.
Plum. Oh, that's good because I'm always Colonel Mustard, Dave. Yes, for many, well, since I was a kid, I always.
And what's your method? What's your weapon?
Well, the weapon changes. You gotta deduce.
What's your favorite though?
The game's afoot. My favorite weapon of choice?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, maybe it's the rope.
The rope.
You can do so many different things.
Yes,
with the rope.
I was gonna say rope is very versatile. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Ran Hen. Hello, everybody. I've seen this movie at the theater. Awesome. So did Ginger. Yeah. Hey, yo, Tomo. What's going on? Yeah.
I was, I think, 12. I think I was 12. This movie scared us. We were scared. We saw this at the drive-in.
Well, listen, I love this movie. This movie is a fantastic movie. There are a lot of issues I have with it.
And I'm sure we're going to hear about each and every one of them, too.
That's what the discussion's about. You'll hear me complain, moan, gripe, and go.
And then you'll talk about the movie. And then
I'll go, but I liked it. And
then you'll give it a 3.
Listen, this came out right after Halloween, 2 years after, and they gave John Carpenter, they said, wow, this director, we're going to give him a 2-movie deal. And it was this one, and it was Escape from New York. And I think I like Escape from New York better, but they're both great movies. The downfall with this movie is the actors, you get big name actors, and they're just you don't know nothing about them. They're very lackluster. Listen, Adrienne Barbeau's just a radio DJ. Everything around her was awesome. I want that.
There's one moment at the very beginning when she says,
"Hey,
she's
Kathy Evans,
smoking a cigarette, and she's looking out the window at the lighthouse, and she says, 'It's just water, Stevie.' And she says, 'But it sure beats Chicago.'" And it's like, okay, so she's from Chicago. That's all you know about her.
Right. Hey, Rich Cat Ranch. Kathy, what's going on? Kurt Russell was in Escape from New York. Yes. And his character was fantastic. But yes, Adrienne Barbeau, I mean, she's a radio DJ. And I want, listen, Ginger, I want that. I want that current, that lifestyle there. I want that. I mean, wouldn't that be awesome to be there watching the ocean every night?
She said it was that lighthouse, there were 360 some steps to go down. And she said it wasn't a problem for us, but think of the crew having to carry all that equipment and stuff up and down 360 some steps.
Yeah.
But what a gorgeous spot, though.
Oh, a gorgeous spot for sure. It was
but you know,
beautiful.
The interior was a soundstage.
Yeah.
Okay.
Listen,
I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna get you.
You probably will on some of this stuff.
I'm gonna get you.
This is one of your movies. So St. The Fog is a proper ghost story. I love it. Yes, it is a proper ghost story with slasher elements thrown in, because he kind of wasn't
literally thrown in.
Well, he wasn't happy with the way things, the final cut.
You're gonna give it all away.
Okay, we'll go on. Well, listen, all I know is Adrienne Barbeau's character, who is played. Her name is Stevie Wayne.
She owns the radio station.
Yeah, even that isn't very relevant. But she's
what isn't relevant? What isn't relevant?
Her name's Stevie Wayne. I mean, we don't really even need to say it much in here. She's basically the DJ, and she basically just narrates kind of the entire movie, and in a way, kind of talks, lets you know what's going on.
Is that a problem?
No. Okay. Listen, I'm going to be the other side where I tell you everything that kind of bothers me. Jamie Lee Curtis's character kind of bothers me too. The whole I know I'm going all over the place, but Tom Atkins,
he's good with the babes, isn't he? He's better with the babes than I think you are, Dino.
Well,
he gets them in the sack in like 15 minutes.
Listen, that was so ridiculous. First of all,
this isn't the first time you've seen that though with that guy. He gets the babes.
Listen, okay, let's get out of the fantasy world that we're living in here in Hollywood. But listen, Tom Atkins, it's one of his first films, and he's got no mustache. After this film, he gets that mustache, that iconic mustache that we all have grown to love with Tom Atkins. He doesn't look right without a mustache to me. I know the Tom Atkins from all his other movies. Oh my God, it was just so. But yes, very kind of weird role in the movie. Jamie Lee Curtis, her role in this movie is just basically a damsel in distress who is on her way to Canada or something and hitchhikes. And yeah, I mean, she jumps into his truck.
And then she jumps into his bed.
And hours later, she's in the bed with him.
They didn't even know each other's names. Ew.
No, he goes, "What's your name?" And she tells him, and I'm like going, "You've got to be kidding me. You've got to be kidding me." But the entire movie, listen, Jamie Lee Curtis went on to do some good roles, but after Halloween, she was given some roles where she was just, it could have been anybody in that role. You know what I mean? Her character meant nothing in this film. Another one, I know Edward Stewart loves this one, but Terror Train. In that movie, she was just like this character. What the hell is she doing here? We're used to Laurie Strode.
Some little side things happen to her. Things happen to her.
Okay, we'll talk about it. Hey, John McKee, what's going on? So, Atkins, stud of love. Oh, jeez.
He gets the babes. He gets them every time.
But we do get that opening, like that ghost story where John House. No, I can't. I should have worked on his voice. John Houseman, of Silver
The
Spoon
distinguished.
fame.
He's so distinguished.
Yes, he is, and he tells a ghost story from Antonio Bay. But I know you want me to shut up. So Antonio Bay,
no.
he's telling a ghost story, and again, this movie kind of pulls you into the whole ghost story thing and all that. But anyways, that's how it starts off. And go ahead, Ginger. That really is all the characters. We got Father Malone, who's played by Hal Holbrook.
And I have questions.
And John Carpenter makes.
Do you remember the question that I asked you before you watched this movie about Father Malone? And you said you'd have to look and think about it. You don't remember. I'll remind you.
No. How was his ancestors, who was a priest, able to
have a grandson who's a priest?
Have a grandson who's.
Someone told me maybe he was an Episcopal priest. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't. Do they call Episcopal priest father? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, somehow he had a kid, so that's all I know. But John Carpenter does make an appearance at the beginning of the movie too, as his assistant at the church there or whatever.
Just like a handyman.
Yeah. So it was kind of cool to see John Carpenter at the beginning of the movie, but
Bennett. His name's Bennett.
Bennett.
So
that's pretty much it. Then you get names thrown in there, like Tom Atkins' name is Nick Castle, who is a name that you will recognize in the Halloween movies. And what is the other name? There's another name that I'm not thinking of really offhand.
I know what you mean. I noticed something too.
Yeah, there's a couple of them. Janet Leigh. How can I say that? Psycho.
Oh, and what about Psycho, Dino? Didn't someone recently ask if we could watch Psycho on a Friday night? Didn't someone ask you that? Who was that person?
I said I said I'm going to play Psycho this week, and so the movie of this week. Listen, like it cares. I know 20 of you love it at movie night. But for the patrons and the channel members, there is a movie night that I put on for you guys at 8 p.m. Eastern time every Friday night for anybody who's a member. And this week it's Psycho. No poll this week.
Because I asked for Psycho. Because I asked for it.
Oh yeah, Ginger said, "Can we do Psycho?" And I said I have that actually penciled in for this Friday. So it was a very good coincidence. St. John says, "Tonight's celebrations are a travesty. We're honoring murders." Oh, he's naming stuff. Lines from the movie. We're honoring murders. Hal Holbrook was great in this movie. Yes. What the horror and sci-fi? What's going on? And CJM 753BC has entered the building. Dave Blueface is Cycle 2, 3, and 4. I will watch. Not one? Dave Blueface is Cycle 2, 3, and 4. I will watch them all. Oh, maybe meaning.
You're welcome, Dave.
Yeah, okay. Of course, one. Yeah, I mean, hey, John Cappuccini. Hey, John Cappuccini, what's up? I need a cup of something, but that's a cappuccini. Good to see you. Welcome. Yeah, good to have you.
So let's talk about Janet Leigh for a moment.
Yeah, I will shut up now because I'm going on a lot. I talk a lot. I'm hyper. Is what they call it.
You are.
I looked it up. It's exactly what the doctor said.
What?
Go on, Ginger.
Is your bit over? I'm waiting for you to be finished with your bit because I never know.
I know. My bit's over.
Okay. I was just going to say, you just talked about Janet Leigh, and I was going to say that she wanted to be in this movie. She loved Halloween so much that she went to Carpenter and said, "Hey, if you ever need a middle-aged woman for one of your movies, keep me in mind." And he did. And
you
yeah, me.
At yourself.
Yeah, me.
You mean Janet Leigh?
Yeah. No, me. I was in one of Carpenter's movies.
Leigh.
You must have missed.
Wasn't she in Rocky Horror Picture Show too? Janet Leigh. Remember?
No.
Frankenfurter?
No, I didn't see Frankenfurter.
You didn't see Rocky Horror Picture Show?
I've never seen the whole thing.
Oh, okay. Hold on. We're going to do a little ceremony where we all. No, okay. I'm not going to be bad. How can you not see Rocky Horror Picture Show? How dare you? How dare you be on this channel and this stream?
I have it on a VHS tape. I've had it on a VHS tape for 30 years and
Put it
never
in your
watched
VCR
it.
and watch it. Okay. Well, we're going to have to do that soon, I guess.
We've done it. The movie doesn't hold my attention.
Sheehan.
I'm sorry. The movie doesn't hold my attention.
Ken Shoemaker is here. What's going on? He says,
hey, Ken, good to see ya.
And WTF says, is this a movie about pirate ghosts or ghost pirates? And Dan Sheehan, he says, Iron Mike Sharp, Canada's greatest athlete. What the flip? I have no idea who Mike Sharp is because he's from Canada. Hello, everyone. John Doe, good to see you.
Dino, you grew up right up there. Haven't you been to Canada? Like, did you go to Canada before we needed passports to get up there?
Oh, I've been everywhere, Ginger. I've been in the blue hole in the Antarctic. I've made travels to the about 3 miles down below the Earth's surface in the crust. I've like hand glided off of Everest. I mean, I'll write a list out for you. But anyways, so this movie. Tell me about it, Ginger.
All right, I'm going to tell you about it.
Yeah, tell me about it.
And every time you interrupt me, I'm going to claim my time back.
I'll do it. Aaron Sharp is here. What's going on? Go on, Ginger.
So yeah, Janet Leigh went to him and said, blah blah blah. So the way that this
no, not blah blah blah. Yada yada yada.
And then they made the movie.
Wow, that's awesome. We need to do yada yada reviews. Well, there's this movie. It's called The Fog. It's from 1980. Yada yada yada. John Carpenter was all right. See you next week.
They needed six murders to make up for the 6 original fishermen. They got them. The end.
Iron Mike Sharp is a wrestler. And John Doe, is there any reference in the chat? Does this have anything to do with The Fog or anything? Or did you just bring up the
He's trying to make it have something to do with
or does it mean something to what we're talking about?
Peripherally.
I don't understand, but I mean, good for Iron Mike Sharp. Dino, we should have Ginger come over to Cedarly Theater. Yes, she should. Okay, I keep interrupting. Janet Leigh said, if you ever want an old bag to be in one of your movies,
really, you're going to call Janet Leigh, who was at this time still a very attractive older woman, you're going to call her an old bag?
Okay.
You called the babysitter, Mrs. Cobras, an old bag.
Well, that lady annoyed
she
me.
Got it. You said you were glad Mrs. Cobras got it. The
Miss
poor sweet old babysitter.
She babysitting the little kid, Stevie Wayne.
Andy?
Because the poor kid, Andy, Stevie Wayne is never there for him. She wakes up, goes to work, and spends all her time at this radio station that she owns and has to run 24/7, I guess. And her kid's down there going, I never have a mommy, but I got this old Mrs. Kravitz. Is it Lenny Kravitz's
Cobritz. This is
Cobritz. But Cobritz gets it, man. And I was shooting confetti things off. Pew!
That's a damn shame.
I hired people.
And then poor little Andy was so scared in the corner in the closet going, Mrs. Cobritz.
Oh,
and Dino's over having a party.
That was sad. But Jeffrey Smith asked us, has anyone seen the horrible 2005 remake? That's the thing. Jeffrey, you should not have made that mistake. John Carpenter produced it in Deborah Hill, but they have nothing to do with it. He just collected a check and they ripped it apart.
Had his name on it, as he should.
Yeah. Well, he just collected a check and said, they can do whatever they want with it. I don't give a crap. Let's sit on the beach and enjoy ourselves. So again, Janet Leigh,
John and Deborah
17 minutes in, and Janet Leigh did what?
John Carpenter and Deborah Hill at that point had broken up because now John Carpenter was with Adrienne Barbeau, and he was like, "Oh, I got a part for you to do this movie." And So John Carpenter was working with his ex and with his new girlfriend on the same set. But it worked out fine. Oh, I wanted to say, did you hear Christine McVie died?
Christine McVie.
Christine McVie died.
Who's that again?
She's from Fleetwood Mac.
Okay, that's right. That's right. Oh boy, how old was she? Rest in peace, Christine McVie.
She was in her 70s. She wasn't that old. She was like in her 70s.
Yeah, rest in peace, Christine McVie.
Yeah, that was very sad.
Just like the checks from the latest Halloween flicks. Exactly, Jeffrey Smith.
So anyway, they were riding high after the whole Halloween thing. They didn't think that Halloween was going to do as well as it did. And they went, after they wrapped Halloween, they went on like a vacation. They went to the United Kingdom, and they went to Stonehenge. And while they were at Stonehenge, they saw this big, thick fog like behind Stonehenge, and it just looked so eerie. And Deborah Hill said, that would be a great Dino and Dino.
Greetings, Dino and Dino. Hey, Peter Wernicke. Good to see you. Ginger's here too.
I'm Ginger.
It's one of the best bands ever. I know Fleetwood Mac, but again, I'm not good with names sometimes. I know the name, but when she said Fleetwood Mac, I said, "Oh, of course, yes, yes."
So, that she's, they were both big fans of horror, both in their own way. I think John Carpenter said he liked the old comic books, like and he heard this story. John Carpenter told this on the extras on my DVD, that there was a story about an actual ship that was carrying gold somewhere in California on the coast. Well, of course, it was a ship. And that they drew that ship in with bonfires to bring it close to shore, and it crashed on rocks or whatever, and the boat sank, and they robbed these guys. They took all their gold. And I bet you that probably wasn't the first or last time that those people did that.
How dare they?
But that's what he kind of based this on.
Were they arrested?
And you mentioned that
I did.
You mentioned
I can't believe that John Carpenter and Deborah Hill love horror movies. That's strange to me. Did we mess something up?
He liked Tales from the Crypt. John Carpenter said he grew up reading those. Tales from the Crypt was a comic book in the 50s and 60s?
You got that, lady.
I didn't know that.
Good double bill with The Mist. Yeah, oh yeah, The Mist. But
and that's what he said. He wanted the fog to be like a character. He wanted the fog to be like, to have like a life of its own. It had evil in it, like it was evil, which came across. But you were mentioning earlier, this is what I forgot. You were mentioning earlier that they kind of threw some stuff in. That was a whole thing. Like they screened the movie after they wrapped. They screened it, and people weren't scared at all. Because Scanners was out, and there was a lot more graphic violence that people had gotten used to, and they didn't like just the mystery and the whatever. They wanted violence.
John Carpenter, they really wanted to do like like John Carpenter's simple. He likes simple things. Let's have a ghost story. Let's tell it like that. But it was the age of slashers. The throughout the 80s, even you got slasher. And
that's when I noticed we watched did we watch this? No. Well, anyway, I told you I always notice stuff like Jamie Lee Curtis's hair changed. I'll notice like, oh, her hair's different now. So they must have done this at very different times. And that's what happened. Her hair was longer in some of the shots because they went back post-production and we're like, we got to put some more stuff in here. Like this movie.
I cannot wait to rewatch this and notice the hair length change in Jamie Lee Curtis. But yeah,
you were saying how John Carpenter is simple.
Yeah. Well, the fog alone wasn't going to cut it. The eerie presence and what's going on. The story is great and all of that.
And stuff. How it had a life of its own. It would come up when it wanted to attack, and then it would recede. Yes.
But throwing in the pirates. Really added and actually putting in some gore with the slasher effects, coat thrust.
Even the man, when the man is having his autopsy done and he sits up and gets up and walks over to Jamie Lee Curtis.
Listen, I wanted to talk about that too. Listen, that was That was so idiotic. Listen,
Yes, it was.
I understand that they're trying to get a point, and even that was a mistake. Okay, so oh God. Okay, this scene I could talk about it real quick. One of the people died.
They were lost at sea. They were lost at sea.
Yeah, and what was the name of the ship again?
The Seagrass.
The Elizabeth Dane.
Oh, the Elizabeth Dane. Okay, that was the original one. Yes.
The original. Okay, and then it was the Seagrass that all the guys were on there drinking. They go out there, they float out there, and they just they want to get away from their wives, and they just want to drink some beer.
Yeah.
And I like when they call up and they say there's a fog rolling in, and the guy gets up and he goes to the window. And he goes, "Yeah, there's no fog rolling in."
He keeps saying there's no fog out there, and then all of a sudden he's like, "Hey,
3, the fog."
There's a fog out there. There's a fog bank. He says there's a fog bank out there.
Yeah, okay, let me start over. He goes, there's no fog out there. There's fog out there. It's like, what? Okay. But anyways, there's a guy who gets killed on there, and we'll talk about that. But he ends up in the little, is it the police, the hospital, whatever.
Coroner's office, whatever, where the coroner is.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you can call it autopsy room, coroner's office, whatever. It's a room that the guy was looking at his body and seeing how he died and stuff like that. They cover him up.
Call an autopsy.
Yeah, and Tom Atkins and him walk out, and
of course Jamie stays in there with the dead body, like, I really
like
stay there with my back to a dead body.
Yeah, like this. Oh, something's going to happen. But I guess the ghost pirates must have taken control of his body. Pause.
Oh, okay. I didn't put that together. That's very good.
Well, it's kind of a.
I never put that together. See, that makes me like the movie even more.
Well, they take control of his body.
Finally, something makes sense.
They take control of his body because when he falls on the ground,
he wrote 3.
He wrote 3 as in 3 remaining, because the thing is, which is out of order, that came.
Oh my God, I never put that together.
That came after the wooden plank that
Dino, you're my hero.
That Stevie's son finds on the riverbank that washes up, some gold coin washes up, turns into driftwood, and says the Dane on it.
Says Dane. And he takes it home, and then for some reason she takes it to the radio station. Why would she take it with her?
Because she don't want it being there with I have no idea. But
why? It's just a piece of wood. Why would she take it to work with her?
Exactly. And her kid found it. But anyways, she takes it and lays it on her cassette tapes, and water starts going on it. And there's this.
And it gets on the tape recorder.
Yes. And the tape recorder starts talking about like it's a ghost pirate just talking through the tape recorder.
And what is that? What is that?
I have no idea. Listen, it doesn't matter. But the wooden plank.
Who was that? And how did his voice get on there, and why? And then they never addressed it anymore.
I have no idea. Hello, Denny. Hello, Denny Regrade, my absolute favorite movie from James Cameron. My absolute favorite movie. You must be talking about something else. So the wooden plank, which happens before, after the 3 etched on the ground, after that, because 3 more are left to die, because they got to get 6 of the souls that were taken from the Elizabeth Dane to begin with.
And at the end, you think they're not going to get the 6th one.
No, but the plank says 6 must die, and she puts a flame.
Just for a moment, it says 6 must die, because I was like, wait a minute, that didn't say that before.
Right, yeah. So they just shot out of sequence, put it in the movie out of sequence. Doesn't make any sense. If you reversed it a little bit, it would have made sense. But anyways, just him getting off the table, going after Jamie Lee, and going.
She never heard a thing. She never heard anything. She's in the room completely quiet. He gets up off the table and walks over to her, and she never hears a thing.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I just thought that was stupid. I don't know. It was something I didn't like. And Denny Regrade says, "Oops, I meant Carpenter." Okay, I figured you did.
He said James. It's John. It's John Carpenter.
They need 6 conspirators. They need to take 6 souls is what they need to do. But
and the cinematographer Dean Cundy worked with him many times.
Yes.
And I like that beginning scene with the poltergeist where everything, the lights and stuff start flashing and the horns are blowing. Thing. I like that.
It was cool.
But why?
It was a part of
why?
It was why? It was like a weird part of the movie. I mean,
they added that, and the part when they were at when Sandy got up because her car alarm was going off and the chair moved across the floor and she was just like,
well, I'm like, is this poltergeist? What's going on here? You know, it's
and then they never mention that. So
no, they never mention it. I think it would be a big topic for any community if things were just flying across the room. I mean, but that lady went on with her work and didn't even talk about it. Then it didn't.
Well, they were in California. Maybe they thought it was like an earthquake that set everything off or something like that.
Well, speaking of, there's another scene that I'm just like, oh my God, when the dude's sweeping up in the store after hours, because between midnight and 1,
the witching hour.
Yes, the dead do their deed. The dead arrive.
Yes, and that comes back into play also.
Yeah, so it's like there's a couple days there. I think it's just a couple days that because they're having this centennial celebration, 100 years of Antonio Bay.
Yes,
which started off in a bad way. I'll let Ginger talk about how it started off. The bad stuff that happened. But there was the second day, I think, when the lights went out and there's a guy sweeping up there, and he went to the shelf and he took out an orange juice from the cooler and drank, a couple sips. Put it in.
And he was very comfortable doing it, like he does that all the time.
Oh yeah, but back in the day, I don't think the lids popped. So I mean, how many times did that actually happen? Like I make sure a lid pops. If it just comes right off, it's going back, baby. But anyways,
so Dina, what is this this angle? I thought you might know because you are a cinematographer. You went to film school. What is this lens that John Carpenter loved so much that people wondered why he was using it, but it became kind of his signature? He said 235 aspect anamorphic that makes wide shots. His shots are always like so wide. And it's the lens. And this Dean Cundy said people used to say, you can't do a close-up with that kind of lens. And he's like, well, we changed the lens and do the close-up afterwards, but we want that. John likes these big, wide shots.
Yeah, no, listen, they make for great viewing. He's in a place, he's in like a New England, whatever. He's somewhere in New England there.
He's in Northern California. They're in Northern California.
But it's supposed to be like New England.
No, it's not.
No? Are you sure?
I'm absolutely sure.
So Antonio Bay was off
California.
the coast of California. Okay,
yes.
Well, listen. Anyways, it's got
That's how much you paid attention. I'm going to remember this, sir. I'm going to remember this.
I get it wrong. Listen, I'm not perfect. Nobody's perfect. But it, you know what it had? Lush rolling hills. It had lush rolling hills. I thought it was
crashing surf. The surf,
Ireland.
The coast on the West Coast is so different from what we have on the East Coast. The shoreline is different. Like on the East Coast, the ocean just kind of gently comes up and it meets the sand, and they're like, "Hi, how you doing? Good." And they just hang out together. On the West Coast, there's these sheer drops, and the ocean's crashing into the rocks below like a battle all the time, and it's wild, and it's not like that on the East Coast. But anyway, why did I bring that up?
Thank you for
arriving. Where they were.
Thank you for arriving to Ginger's topographical history lessons.
And one of the reasons that they picked that location is because it had a lighthouse. They were looking for a lighthouse because that was important because it was fog. And
makes sense, Ginger. You're right.
It was the foggiest. It was the foggiest coastal city in the United States.
Listen, this
one is cool.
Mr. D, the West Coast makes the pirates even more bizarre.
It was the second foggiest place in the United States after Nantucket, and that was the two big reasons why they picked that location.
You're listening to KABAM 1340 Antonio Bay, 1879, beaming a signal across the sea, says Edward Stewart. Overkill 161. Good to know, Dino. I made the same mistake of going to film school. The same mistake, overkill. I don't call mine a mistake.
No,
I'm
I was going to
working
say, I
on-
don't think Dino thinks his was a mistake.
No, I'm working on some stuff and some projects. And then listen, no, it's a good thing. You learned a lot, but not a lot of people use it afterwards. But anyways, continuing.
So yeah, one of the first things I thought about halfway through this, and this movie isn't very long. It seemed a little longer. It wasn't that long, but it's just like
it's an hour and a half, an hour 29 minutes, and perfect length for this kind of a film.
Yes,
Yeah.
if it was any longer, it would be ridiculous. But even though it wasn't that long, it still kind of dragged in spots. They could have condensed it more, but then it would have only been like an hour and 15 minutes.
So the main thing, the main plot of this movie is what, Ginger? You love this movie so much. Tell us about the Elizabeth Dane and this crew,
Well, the Elizabeth
this
Dane,
leper colony.
Yes.
Tell us about it. These darn lepers on all fours, you know,
with their spots.
Yeah, with their spots. These lepers. Tell me about it.
Well, you already did.
So
anyway, it's a revenge movie. It's a revenge movie because that's what Deborah
Hill wanted.
Spit
on your grave?
Like I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Ah, there you go. Oh, Jennifer.
It even has the fisherman
Hold
with
on
the fish
a second.
hook.
Okay, go on. I was just thinking of Jennifer Love Hewitt a second. That's all.
Oh God.
I needed 5 seconds.
She's a little curvy for you, isn't she? I thought you liked the slender, willowy.
Listen,
she's a little curvy for you.
Listen, beauty comes in all shapes and sizes.
Okay.
Jennifer Love. What was that about? Gives Blake his gold back.
Oh, and when he picks up Jamie Lee Curtis, she's hitchhiking. When he picks her up, she gets in the car and he's drinking a beer. And he's like, "You want a sip?" And she takes a sip of his beer. So number one, he's casually drinking a beer while driving. And number two, he just hands this complete stranger his beer. And she
It was 1980. It was 1980. They didn't really worry about stuff at that time, did they? I don't think so.
No, apparently not. And then 15 minutes later, they're rolling around in the bed. So yeah, they weren't worried about a lot of stuff.
Listen, let's stop talking about that because it's just the most disturbing thing I've seen in a while.
Oh, stop it.
Listen, Tom Atkins and his beautiful love affair. Listen, I'm stopping. Go ahead.
So it's the witching hour on the anniversary of Antonio Bay. And this is the time when
It's the witching hour.
It's the witching hour. And it's the anniversary of 100 years ago when they drew this leper colony ship onto the shore using bonfires, and it crashed because they didn't want a leper colony in their town or whatever. But
yeah, a-holes.
So from 12 to 1, these sailors are out and they want to take 6 souls because that's how many of them died on the Elizabeth Dane. And
but they wanted to. They wanted to take 6 of the lineage of the people associated with the lives of the ones that were killed.
I didn't put that together either. How do you know that?
But they only listen. I vaguely know John Carpenter, but listen, the only one he really touches on in the film is the priest. The other ones are inconsequential and they don't even really touch on it. And they should, because
well, I mean, the priest was like, he's the one that's been harboring the secret all this time. Oh. He was the impetus. He was the one who started it all. I mean, he was kind of like the guy in charge. So of course they're going to come for his progeny. Of course they are.
Exactly. Yes. But
the rest of them, yeah, I was going to say, who was related? What are you talking about?
Exactly. I mean, listen, they're coming for Stevie Wayne, and but anyways,
and why when the ghosts come for her, and I know this is the end of the movie, but whatever. Why when the ghosts come for her, of all places, she climbs on top of the lighthouse? That's where she figures she'll be safe. climbing to the
Listen,
highest point
yeah.
above the crashing surf on a
I think
tip,
she
a
was
point
just
of
being
land that ends right now.
I I think she was being backed in a corner. I think the only way was her backing up. There's the steps to go to the top. I don't think it had she could have jumped
It's a
off the cliff.
lighthouse. It's literally in a circle. She could have gone in any direction. It was
Yeah,
literally a
well, okay,
circle.
so I can't, I'm trying to remember the scene again, and who the hell knows? Yeah, I mean, it's a dumb scene if you think about it, because yes, let me work my way and hope that when I get to the top, they'll stop, which eventually does happen, of course. But
So
listen,
while
the beginning of the movie too. Well, we got to mention this real quick, and then you get to what you were going to say. But the whole movie starts off this whole shebang with an old like journal that just so
falls
happens
out
when
of the wall.
when John Carpenter leaves the room, Bennett, the concrete falls and the book falls on the table, and here comes Father Malone reading the secrets. And the funny thing is, if you look at the words on the prop journal, read it. Go to the movie, go to the spot and
No,
read it.
tell me, what does it say? Just tell me.
Somebody, I don't have it down exactly, but it's somebody just went in there and wrote some weird shit stuff. And it's nothing what he's reading. It's just like, I went to college. And it pertains nothing to.
It probably wasn't really meant for anybody to get close enough to be able to like.
Yeah, but the camera was close enough, and the scribbling was enough to where
Well,
you
they
can
had to
make
make
out
some changes.
the words. And I'm like, what the hell is going on here? But anyway, so then continue on, Ginger.
So Nick, Tom Atkins, Nick, and Elizabeth, Jamie Lee Curtis, are in the sack, and somebody knocks at the door, and it's the fog. It's a sailor knocking. And this is the reason why I can't watch this movie. I can't put this movie on and go to sleep, because when they bring that fish hook up and bang on the door, it wakes me up.
And did you say the sailor? You can't listen. It's one of the rules. You don't mix pirate with sailor ever. Okay, a pirate.
It wasn't
is
a
not
pirate. They weren't pirates. Those weren't pirates on that ship. They were the sailors. They were the crew on that ship. They weren't pirates. They were sailors. Excuse me.
They were pirates.
They were not pirates.
The whole movie.
If they were pirates, why were they wearing rubbers? Why were they wearing raincoats and stuff? Pirates don't wear that.
Sailors do, huh?
Yes.
So you're going with they were part of.
They were the crew of the Elizabeth Dane.
So they were part of the U.S. Naval Fleet of 1880.
Oh my
God. Something like that, 1880.
And they come banging on his door, and just when he gets to
over
the door,
let's get past that real fast. Seth the Welsh says dream logic applies in this movie. No, it don't. No, it don't. Don't give excuses, Seth, to things that are wrong in the movie. I'm joking with you, Seth. I think Ginger is correct, he says. Listen,
I usually am.
You can
but
go.
Thank you, because Dino will never admit it. Dino won't admit it, but I'm usually right.
I'm going to let you talk real quick, and I'm going to do a real quick research here while you're talking, because listen, the whole movie's always.
Are you going to let me talk? Are you going to let me talk? Or are you going to keep talking?
Yes. Well, the whole movie, since I was a kid, has been talked about a pirate ghost story. So we should be talking about a sailor ghost story. I want everything changed on YouTube and the internet and Google back to sailor. Okay? Go on, Ginger.
It should be, because they're not pirates. They're sailors. You want to call them a pirate because they come ashore with fish hooks and swords and machetes and stuff and kill people with them, but that doesn't make them pirates. They're sailors seeking revenge for what was done to them. They're not pirates.
Yeah. So yeah, continue talking about it.
Yeah. Okay. Good luck on your search. Good luck. I'm going to proceed.
Okay. You do that.
Someone knocks. Nick would have gotten killed, but the witching hour ends right at 1:00. His clock chimes and the witching hour's over, so the spirit didn't get to him. So then they have to come back again.
Yes. Are you looking at your
This is when
notes?
the kid finds the piece of driftwood. Nick and Elizabeth go looking for the seagrass because the seagrass didn't come back. Mrs. Williams is the mayor of the town, and her husband Al went out on the seagrass. They're going over this anniversary celebration that they're having for the town. They find the seagrass, and Mrs. Williams and Sandy go to the church to look for Father Malone, and he starts reading them this whole story that he found, this book that fell out. And Janet Leigh and Nancy Loomis with her cute self.
Nancy
Hello?
Loomis? Who's Nancy Loomis?
Oh my God, you know who she is.
Who's Nancy Loomis?
So Nick and Elizabeth go out and look at the seagrass.
Yeah.
We find out that the first Father Malone, the current Father Malone's grandfather, didn't want a leper colony close by. And then Nick tells a story. Nick tells a story about his father finding a gold doubloon or something and keeping it. And then when he went to go look for it, it was gone or something. And then they never addressed that again either. It's like, why did you even bother telling that story? It has nothing to do with anything.
Okay, well, they were mariners.
Dino's still trying to find me wrong.
Well, no,
Dino's working hard to prove me wrong.
Listen, they were mariners, which technically not associated with sailors, which sailors you refer to as a country's defense, army, or navy system. So,
okay, Dino, you win. You're right, and I'm wrong. I'm wrong. We're both wrong. How about that? You're right.
But and
we're both
mariners,
wrong, so let's move
mariners.
on.
Listen. And once mariners are dead and become a ghostly figure, they turn into what we will call the pirates, the ghost pirates. So moving on, Dr. Loomis is Michael's doctor in Halloween, which I'm sure many here know. Oh, thank you, Frontier Studies. Hey, yeah. Oh, Loomis, Dr. Loomis. Nancy Loomis was Janet Leigh's assistant. Yes, Jeffrey Smith. She was at the beginning of the movie. She's the apartment where her horn honked outside and the chair flew across her room, knocking her down and giving her a concussion. But she made it to with the governor, Janet Leigh, the next day to write notes. Wouldn't you love to have somebody just walk around with you and just write notes all the time? Like, man, it's a good day today. Write that down. You know what I mean? Wouldn't that be great, Ginger? Am I wrong?
Uh-huh.
Overkill. No, these are pirate ghosts. Ghosts that decided to become pirates in death. Thank you, Overkill 161. The gold coin was C.
What makes them pirates? They're not pirates. What makes them pirates? What are they doing that makes them pirates? They're not pirates. They're just seeking revenge for what happened to them. They're not pirates.
Greg McCown. Are Dino and Ginger married? They talk like a married couple. Listen,
why do people keep saying that?
Listen, we're like brother and sister here, man.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
Yes. I love joking around with Ginger here, so it comes off well. Listen, I got lucky.
And if I was in the room with him, I'd be punching him in the neck.
Exactly, and I'd be pinching her arm and giving her bruises.
And I'd be like,
stop! Stop that! Spooky stuff.
Mom, he's touching me.
John David, hey, what's going on? Didn't realize it was Janet Leigh. Yeah. Dino, you would be sleeping on the couch tonight. How do you?
So Andy sees the fog
anyway,
coming. Let's keep this going. Andy.
Yeah,
sees
please.
The fog
We're already almost an hour in. Jeez. Oh, halfway there.
And this is when they go to the autopsy and the body sits up, and this is another thing they just threw in at the end.
Oh,
the body gets up and walks across the room to where Jamie Lee Curtis is.
Yes. Beirut wedding. She's right. They're not pirates. Thanks.
They're not.
Thank you. I'm so glad that I'm glad he fixed us all, straightened us all out.
He's just giving me support. Okay, you got some support. He's just giving me some support. Much appreciated. Because I'm right. I don't care what you read to me off interwebs. I'm right. They weren't pirates. It's a cliche to call them pirates because they're sailors, they're mariners. That doesn't mean that they're pirates. It means they're
Listen,
vengeful.
listen, I'm
I'm
joking
right.
around. I'm joking around, but
I'm right.
I've even heard
Rutgers
John.
Studies said hair splitting contest. Yay! Because
Exactly.
I have to be right, and so does Dino. That's a problem.
Well, and the thing is,
saying?
though, listen, I agree with you. They're mariners, and they're just like fishermen on a boat or something like that. But evidently, they had a huge bounty, which makes them
a huge what? They had a huge what?
They had a huge bounty of
I thought you
gold
said booty.
coins.
Huge.
They
They
had
did have a huge
bounty.
booty.
They had a huge bounty of
Booty.
gold coins, which is considered a treasure on their ship. Okay?
Probably in the cargo hold down below.
Right, which was stolen from them. Thus, the term pirate ghosts comes into play. I've even heard
Are we really still on this? Why are we still on this?
I've heard interviews, even with John Carpenter, refer to them as ghost pirates. So, I'm done talking about this.
Are you, though?
And we'll be done with it. So, continue on.
They have this stupid celebration for the anniversary, and there's just a bunch of people making speeches that look super boring. There's no beer. There's nothing.
Moving right along. What, you're getting bored at the discussion? You need to get to the end of the movie? Ian Sharp, have you seen the movie yet? I mean, we'll get there, but we're just discussing it. Okay, go on, Ginger.
So, the celebration looks super weird. Nick calls Stevie, and Stevie tells Nick to call Stevie and says, I'm one of the guys that found the seagrass. And she tells him the fog is coming. And she tells him that the fog was glowing. And he believes her. He's like, yeah, it was kind of glowing. Because the fog had like a life of its own. It had evil inside.
Yeah.
Dan. Stevie Wayne has an admirer named Dan. He works at the weather station, and he calls her every night.
The weatherman.
And tries Dan the weatherman.
Yeah.
And he tries to get in her pants.
Yeah, what an idiot this guy is, huh? Fog rolls in and he hears someone knocking at the door. I mean, how's he to know? But still, yeah, I'll show them.
Well, how's anybody to know? How would you possibly know that there's something in the fog that is going to kill you? How would you know that? How would you know it, Dino? How?
Yeah, exactly. You wouldn't. You would just think it's somebody playing a joke on you. And Schultze 10,000 has showed up and he says, oh my God, he doesn't care that we're discussing the movie, but he stopped by mostly in honor of the spectacular Adrienne Barbeau. See you in the overnight stream, Schultze. It's all crime Christmas shows. There you go.
So then poor Dan is on the phone with Stevie and he loses power.
Yeah.
The fog is at the weather station where Dan works. Someone knocks on the door, and while Stevie's on the phone, Dan gets it by one of the sailors.
Because
and then the
it's
fog,
glowing radiation.
The fog reaches the power station now.
No, it doesn't.
Now the fog reaches the power station. And the town goes dark because the fog goes over all the generators and stuff, and it makes the town go dark. So Stevie loses power at the lighthouse, and Andy, her son, and the babysitter, Mrs. Coberts, they also lose power.
Yeah.
So the fog is on its way to the fog is on its way to Stevie's house where her son Andy and the babysitter, Mrs. Coberts, are.
Yes, yes. They're coming to claim their souls, and Mrs. Coberts must have some lineage to the original.
Well, they were going to get Andy too, so he must have lineage, if that's what you say.
No, I think they were just I think they were just grabbing whatever 6 victims they could. I mean, listen, it doesn't kind of make sense.
The only one that really mattered was Father Malone.
I mean, couldn't they just go to the celebration and have a good time?
Pick off as many people as they wanted. Yeah.
Yeah, they could have got 20, and then we would be after them in 100 years. You know what I mean? There would up come 100 years from now this huge centennial celebration of people, and they would and lights would appear, and a crowd would develop, and they would knock on doors, and you would think that they were just solicitors, but no, they are coming for their revenge on the pirates of the lineage of the family members of the mariners, not the ghost pirates, but the mariners and the sailors
Philip, I don't know what Philip's talking about. Frontier Studies, I don't know what you're talking about. Ask Philip, what is he talking about?
Could you be wearing a dangerous gas detector that goes off like a Geiger counter does for radiation?
What?
Dino shakes his head. Dangerous gas detector. But you know what? There are various forms of gases, and gases have nothing to do with radiation, which they measure. Anyways, come on, continue, Ginger.
Stevie starts the generator because they lost power. And she tries to get on the radio and tell Andy and Mrs. Coberts to get out, but I don't know where they're supposed to go. Someone knocks on Stevie's door. Nick and Elizabeth are on their way because Stevie's on the radio saying, can somebody get to my house? My son is at my house. Can somebody get to the house? So Nick and Elizabeth are booking it over there.
Oh, yeah.
But not before poor Mrs. Coberts gets it.
Oh, yes. Thankfully, me and Ginger are on the same page here that Mrs. Coberts gets it.
No, we're not. Stop. We're not.
No, what?
She was a kindly old lady. Don't you say those things about her.
Kindly? She was pinching not Stevie. She was pinching the little kid, Andy.
No, she wasn't.
And she told him, get to your room with no cookies.
No, she didn't. Shut up.
Because he wanted snacks, and he called his mom.
So Nick and Elizabeth get Andy.
And she said, he called his mom, said, can I have a snack? Mrs. Kovacs won't let me have none. She makes me starve every night. Remember that?
No.
Oh, no, maybe that was one of the uncut scenes in the 4K version that was just released.
So Stevie tells everyone that the fog is coming and to go to the church. And Mrs. Williams and Sandy are already in the car because Sandy's going to drive Mrs. Williams home. But then they say, Stevie says, the only place that's safe is the church. Everybody get to the church. So everybody's heading to the church.
Oh, I bet Mrs. Kovacs had a dark past, all right, doing that. I mean, I'd like to see what her references were to even babysit Andy. Horror junkie for life.
She was available and she was cheap. Just like everybody else picks a babysitter. She was available and she was cheap.
Yes. Hello, horror junkie for life. Good to see you. Zombie sailor.
Zombie sailor, damn it. That's what they are. They're zombie sailors.
Philip says again, like a carbon monoxide detector in the fog that detects other stuff too.
What are we talking about?
No, Ginger. Yeah, that's a good idea, Frontier Studies. That is something that probably should have been done. If they could have worn that suit, they could have detected those zombie sailors, but they're really pirate mariners. And
no, they're not. They're not pirate anything.
And detected it is what they could have done.
They're not pirate anything.
Does anyone know what a stomach pounder is? What Andy asked for in the beginning? Oh,
St. John. A quarter pounder, of course. That was when McDonald's was considered junk food that you just weren't supposed to eat. That was when McDonald's food was first out, and people were like, "Oh, you can't eat that stuff. Just eat it home."
Did they have at this point, did they have a McDonald's in Scotland though? Those rolling hills, the lighthouse and all.
Somehow Father Malone knows that the cross is solid gold, that the gold that they stole from the ship was melted down. Well, he pulls that out later.
He pulls that out later.
How does he know that? How does he know that the cross is, did it say in the little journal that they made all that gold into a cross?
No, listen, he knows that there's a bounty that was stolen. He knows that. Those were Captain Barbosa crew. Jacob, what's going on? He woke up from a nap a few hours ago about zombies. Very interesting. I thought it was crystals. He started to tear more of the wall out to get what was in there when the other people were there. That's when they found out, because it was covered up, and he pulled it out, and they go, a cross. and it's
the
so
cross was in the wall.
yes, when they were
Oh,
tearing the cement out.
and they went through all of that. All those townspeople went through all of that just to have Father Malone take all that gold and melt it and make it into a cross and then seal it in a wall. Did they get anything out of the deal?
No.
That's a
Captain Blake.
shame.
Yes, Captain Blake.
Captain Blake. They called him Blake.
Yeah.
Yep, Blake.
Seth loves this film. I know it. Journal said he was keeping the gold or something. Says Black. Yeah.
So then there's something comes up to Stevie Wayne while she's at her job at the lighthouse. She goes outside and it's chasing her. At the same time, Father Malone.
Are we at the end of the movie? We got a half hour.
I know, but I have other stuff I can talk about, but you won't let me. You're so busy chastising everybody.
Listen, there's a lot of good things.
And researching for 15 minutes to try to prove me wrong.
Listen, that journal, man. That journal. But listen, the fog effects, well, I guess we can talk about that at the end. I mean, it was very well done. There was we'll talk about that at the end. Those are the things we can talk about at the end of the movie discussion. But do you like when the sheriff was asked to, hey, you got to call sheriff, and he was getting ready to speak, and he went off. They never went back to talk. That was it. You never seen him again.
Right. He called the phone line. The phone line just went. Psh.
Yeah, that happened to just about every character that something happened to, other than the one crew member who they found that. When did you see him last? 2 days. 2 days. His body says he's been under salt water for a month.
More than a month. Years.
Yeah. So, but other than him, I think anytime anything happened to anybody, even Miss Kovitz, I mean, nothing was talked about.
Brits.
Oh, I'm doing John Lovitz. That's the ticket. Acting. How did you do that? It was pretty simple. It was acting. Anyways, yeah. Continue. You got a story to tell. It's the end of the movie here.
They take Father Malone offers himself. He has the cross, and he offers himself to be the sixth person that they take. And the one sailor comes over to him and puts his hands on the cross, and the cross starts glowing, and it's really hot. And Father Malone's like, "Oh, it's burning him."
Listen. There's this whole thing going. Ginger tends to not see the whole picture. There's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff going on at this church. Everybody gathers there at this church. Yeah, she needs a break, just for a couple minutes. They all gather at the church. The Janet Leigh, Tom Atkins, Jamie Lee Curtis, the assistant. They're all there to hide from these pirate ghosts. I mean, zombie sailors.
Because Stevie said on the radio that that's the only safe place in town.
Yes. So all hell breaks loose, and it is a cool scene when it comes to horror films. It's the glass. The stained
it's like
glass.
Thriller. It's like Michael Jackson's video Thriller.
Yeah, all these zombie sailors, whatever. The arms are coming through the windows and they're breaking, but they're not really breaking because there's saran wrap on both sides of the glass, and I love that. And you just see them breaking through. And one's got the only
scene. This is the only scene that Janet Leigh and Jamie Lee Curtis are in the same set in the same scene.
Yes, and they're related.
They are closely related.
Closely related, yeah. They're family members. Good old Tony Curtis, one of the greats. Gotta love that guy. Although, his acting,
I just mentioned last night in the chat that I had just found out that he wrote all of his kids out of his will.
Listen, okay, why'd I even get on this subject? Because Tony Curtis, I love him as an actor and all the things he did, but he was an a-hole.
Yes.
He treated the women like crap. He wore he spray painted his head so he was perfect until the day he died. He wrote his children out of his wills.
And instead he left his whole estate to his sixth wife. And as soon as she got her hands on it, she started auctioning everything off.
Yeah. So anyways, yeah, so we'll get past that real quick. But Yes, there's a whole thing going on. The father's rips the cross, out the wall, holds it, and he knows he's got to sacrifice himself. And they do come up to him, and the main now I got to say zombie, but Captain Blake, comes up to him, and the cross is glowing, and Tom Atkins' character actually pulls him off, and you think, oh, they just wanted the gold back because
they leave.
Because zombie sailors want their gold. Pirates want it more.
That the gold was stolen from them and they want it back. It was stolen from them. They're not stealing anything. They're taking back what was stolen from them. Proceed. Move on.
Thank you, Horror Junkie for Life, for gifting one Late Horror Show membership.
Horror Junkie, she is the best, man.
To Cam's Crash Courses. Thank you. Much love to you as always. Love you, Horror Junkie.
Thanks, Horror Junkie.
Yeah. So all of that's going on. Then they flow away like the fog. The zombie army men are walking backwards out the church, and you think the movie's kind of done with and over, and
everyone leaves. They just leave Father Malone alone in that church where they were just attacked by zombie sailors. They just leave him there alone, and they all leave, and he's there by himself, and he's like, why not me? Why didn't you take me? I would have been the sixth one. Why didn't you take me? And then he looks at the door, and from under the door is coming
the fog again.
Light.
You think the fog's gone because the fog has retreated. But to end the movie out here, the fog comes under and it was a cool scene. Before that happens, when Adrienne Barbeau and her top was up on the lighthouse, getting away from the I don't even know what to call them anymore, ghosts, and you never see them except glowing eyes, really. But in that scene,
you see their shadow.
Yeah. You on the lighthouse when she gets it, actually a hook into her shoulder.
Her shoulder, yep.
Yeah, and they don't talk about that after either. She's fine. She's not even hurt.
Yeah, she would definitely need medical attention after
put some Mercurochrome on that. Right. Remember Mercurochrome? Iodine it, baby.
Rub some dirt on it.
or put some gunpowder in there and light it like Rambo and go, But no, you get a glimpse of the light of the face where it's kind of green and slimy and maggots are coming out. That's the only kind of hint you get of how their face.
And that was another thing that they threw in at the end. They called him Worm Face. They threw that in at the end when people weren't reacting as, like they weren't really scared of the movie. They had to add a bunch of stuff in. And that was one of the things they added, Worm Face.
Yeah, they would call a lot of sailors back in the 1880s Worm Face when they hated them and they ousted the loser of the group. They would say,
what happens to Father Malone? He gets it good. What happens to Father Malone?
Oh, so the ending of the movie, yes, thanks for getting me on track. Father Malone looks and sees the fog. He turns around and he sees them. And Captain Blake comes right up and slashes his throat and he's gone. And the movie's done. So they got their payback is what it is. And what's the old saying? Payback is a beach?
A zombie sailor. It's a zombie sailor.
Oh, and it's a bitch too. Rob Bottin, the great special effects whiz behind all the creatures of the Thing, played Captain Blake. Yes, he did. It was his first. He was coming to get the position as the makeup artist, and John Carpenter said, "Stand up," and he did, and just to make sure he was the right size for Captain Blake, the character, and he said, "You got the role as Captain Blake, and you can do all this makeup effects." So, so yes, that is how Rob Bottin got his start and went on to do a lot of other John Carpenter things, especially The Thing with Kurt Russell. So there you go. You all right? All good? You need to take a phone call?
No, I just got bombarded with text messages all of a sudden. I'm good.
Jeez, I've been getting them for the past half hour here. It's going bzz, bzz, bzz.
Oh, is that what that was? I thought it was something else.
What? Oh wait, what's going on? Let's see. I just want to make sure I didn't miss nothing in the chat. Okay, good. Odie Dillon, what's going on? What's going on? Good to see you. Save me, Dino and Ginger. Rescue me from the insane news on the air. Oh, geez, no news. I will find out after, but I don't even give a crap. I'm not sure what's going on, but I'll check it out after really fast.
It's not anything that's going to make you smile, that's for sure.
Yeah, I don't really.
So the difference is that John Carpenter and Deborah Hill said that the fog was supernatural as opposed to Halloween.
And Odie Dillon, I will save you from the news. Right after this, at 10 o'clock, we have Crime Christmas Detective Mr. Old Time Radio shows all night long. Christmas theme.
Christmas.
That'll take you.
That's
away
a lot.
That'll take you away from everything. It is, isn't it? Isn't it?
That is a lot. What more could you possibly want?
There's not much more. Listen, you got Sherlock Holmes and the Adventure of the Christmas Bride. I mean, come on.
Come on. Are there timestamps?
People.
Are there timestamps?
Yes, all timestamped. Broadway is my beat. Nick Norman and Santa Claus. So listen, all night long, man, you're going to be taken away. Like Calgon, you will be swept off your feet in the warm bath that Calgon gives you. But yes, the fog effects and all of that was really, really cool. Was really, really cool. A lot of it was done in reverse. Excited. It was all done a lot of it was done in reverse to give it a really cool effect when it retreated.
Yes, because of the fog, right?
Yes, very well done. So you go on. You got a lot of things to say still.
Let's not leave you guys. Save me. Didn't we agree that you were going to save me some time and you just kept talking and talking, even though you said you were going to let me talk? You just kept talking and talking.
Thanks, John David. Yes, it's now it's time to see what information, her homework she did, and I will grade her at the end. So start
always.
Get to the front of the class, Ginger. Okay.
Deborah Hill was excited to have Hal Holbrook because he had played Mark Twain, and he was considered this sort of like elder statesman. She was just so proud to have him play this kind of like weak, she said weak and shady priest. Weak and shady.
Well, I mean,
And the John Houseman scene at the beginning with the campfire was actually shot on a sound. John Houseman. It was actually shot on a sound stage, even though it looks like they're out on the beach. It was actually, they started a fire and made it look like they were outside.
Yeah, actually it looked like it was a sound stage.
And you were saying earlier how John Carpenter was a simple man. He liked simplicity, and that was
a simple man.
He was a simple man.
With simple plans.
Kept pretty much to himself.
Yes. Like the Clopex, yes.
Yes. Nobody goes in, nobody comes out, no visitors, no deliveries. What do you think they're eating in there, Dino?
Oh man, Red Rover. Let Ray go on over. Okay, come on, let's stick to the fog. Come on.
We can do the whole movie. I know that whole movie, and I know you do.
Oh man.
He can't come out until he resembles the man I married. Come on, Carol, we don't have that kind of time. When they go up to the Clopex and they dare each other to ring the doorbell.
Listen, that's one of the funniest scenes where listen, the whole juxt of the Burbs, you got me going now. Listen, it's adults acting like kids. Mm-hmm. Although there's a real thing happening, they're acting like children. Mm-hmm. And Dern, what's his name? Oh my God, I'm so terrible.
Rumsfeld.
Anyways, it doesn't.
Rumsfeld's the name.
Yeah, Rumsfeld and listen. Well, Tom Hanks' character and what's his name?
Ray's got a gun.
Ray's got a gun, and Ray go out, and they see that the neighbors, the Klopex, are coming out. The little boy Hans is coming out.
He drives the garbage. He drives the garbage out to the curb.
Who does that? I've never seen that before. I've never
seen. And then
beat
the hell out of it with a stick.
Yeah. But they're sitting there at the end.
The huge furnace in their basement, and every time they turn the furnace on, it makes the whole neighborhood go dark.
Yeah. And it gets, but listen, no, when Hans comes out to get the mail, it's the first time them seeing the neighbor.
Yes.
And
They
Ray,
try to say hi to him.
yeah, and then Ray urges him to go and meet. Hey, they're your neighbors. Go meet him. So, look
Right.
at you, look like an idiot in front of your kid and everything. And
your son, Ray.
Yes, and what's his name takes his gum out of his mouth, and he throws it on the ground, and you can hear it smack.
Art
And it just always cracks me up.
When
But
he
then
walks
they go
up to the front porch and his foot goes through the porch.
The foot goes through the. Anyways, let's. We got off track a bit, but it came with the flame.
It came with the flame.
I also like when Rumsfeld looks at Mr. Klopek and he goes, "Okay, man, enough with the BS. What do you got in the cellar, hair, Klopek?" And when he says hair, he looks at his hair. He goes, "What do you got in the cellar, hair, Klopek?" There's just so many things in that movie.
The scene with that same scene a couple minutes before when Hans comes out and he offers the girls pretzels and sardines.
Pretzels, sardines.
Carrie Fisher and what was the girl? Mrs. Rumsfeld. They had to do that scene like 3 times because they couldn't keep a straight face. And she was like, "We just love Hinkley Hills, don't we?" And she's like, "Yes." And they're both laughing. They had to keep redoing the scene.
Blooper reels because they're offering him pretzels, sardines. And
Bonnie says, "Oh, I'm trying to cut back." And they both were cracking up when she said,
"But Bonnie tells Ray, take one. Be
nice.
Yeah, so one. Poor him had to take it. And
you can hear it when he was pulling the sardine out of the can.
ASMR. Hold on. He takes the sardine out of the can and goes. It is so disgusting, and he puts it in his mouth, and I'm like going.
And everybody's looking at him because they're like, "That looks really disgusting," and everybody's looking
really
at
gross.
it.
It's really gross. Anyways, okay, so The Fog. We still got to give scores, but if you got a little bit more, go ahead. Or you want me to give my score? Sure. Let's give our score real quick.
Okay.
So I will give this movie a very, very. I will give it a 6.5 out of 10.
Oh, that's very nice. I was going to give it a 7.
Okay, so we're close. Very good movie. A lot of plot holes, a lot of things and this and that. But listen, it's one of it's a classic.
I didn't know that John Carpenter and Adrienne Barbeau were together. I did not know that.
Oh yeah, he was using her as a pillow. Yeah, just saying. He loved her. He didn't want to leave her side.
Okay.
Anything else you got there, Ginger?
I think that's all I have.
I
just think there's so many things that they didn't make clear, like the whole 6 need to die.
Oh golly, gee willikers, Dino. Now I gotta rewatch The Fog again. 100 thumbs up and Santas and elves and cowboys and stars. Thank you, Odie Dillon. 7, just Tom the Man Atkins is in it, and Jamie Lee Curtis.
St. John gives it a 9.5. That's really setting the bar high there, St. John. Come on now.
Yeah, 9.5 is nearly perfect. That is a nearly perfect film.
I'm gonna have to disagree with you, and I love this movie.
Yeah, no, it's not a 9.
This is like mashed potatoes and gravy for me. This movie's just like comfort food.
Right, but again, for St. John, it's a 9.5 for him.
That's fine.
Fine. Mad respect, crazy respect for you. How about that?
Crazy, stupid respect.
Yeah, I give it a 5 because Atkins, Jamie, and her mom. Says Connie. Now, I guess you didn't like Atkins, Jamie, and her mom? Interesting. It's my favorite horror, says St. John. Well, that gives us a reason why you give it a 9.5. And listen,
I'm going to tell you one of the scariest part of the movie for me was when the men were out there on the seagrass and they heard something and that they went out to see what the fog was. They were going to go back home. And that big, huge ship pulled up alongside them. That was scary.
Oh, yeah. Oh, mama.
That scared me.
When they saw that, and again, when he goes up to the window and he goes, and give me 3 seconds, when he goes, I don't see any fog. Oh, I see the fog. The other two go out there, and there's this gigantic pirate ship that goes by, and that's scary.
It looked really scary the way they did that. That was good.
Yeah. Beirut Wedding says, if I remember correctly, 6 needed to die because it was 6 conspirators who stole the money, sank the ship.
Oh, okay.
There you
go.
So
it wasn't 6 sailors who died.
Because it was 6 conspirators who stole the money, sank the ship. Yeah.
But I thought it was because it was 6 sailors that died originally.
But it was spoken at the beginning, and I could go back again about the lineage of the family, or hey, maybe everybody was related on the island, so it didn't matter who they got. So whatever. Great jump scare in the church when the father appears out of the shadows. Yes.
Yeah, that was dumb. That was dumb. The way he just came up.
Jump scares are always pirate ship? Question mark?
It wasn't
exactly.
A pirate ship. It wasn't a pirate ship. It was just a ship.
Seth the Welsh, thank you. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Seth the Welsh. Thank you.
It most certainly was a pirate ship. And most pirate ships are named the Elizabethane, it was called, after a woman.
My father is most 2% Irish, just FYI.
Yeah, most pirate ships are named after a woman, so to speak.
Although, isn't it true that women are considered unlucky on ships?
Well, you're getting into last century.
Well, yeah, I'm just saying traditionally in mines and on ships, I think it was like women, they didn't take on women as crew members because they were considered bad luck. Not saying a woman couldn't be on a ship, but she couldn't be a crew member.
Right, but pirates would name their ships after women who they either loved or had this great love affair, or what would pirates do with women? They would have their way, and then they would name their ship after them. Oh, let's name it the Elizabethane. She was a beautiful lad. Anyways. Don't forget to smash that button. Yeah, so listen, thank you guys. Hit that thumbs up. Become a channel member. So it's only
the one time that
send us in as many super chats as possible before the
Dino says 6.49.
6.4. We're doing gymnastics now. Is what we're doing. Mike Barrett says he gives it a 7. Has anyone seen the terrible remake? No, and that's because a lot of people are smart enough to say, nope, I'm not watching that. It's going to be awful. But anyways.
And I like the, what's the woman who played Stevie Wayne in the remake? I like her, but no, I have no interest in a remake of this at all.
Lots of ships were given women's names. They were lepers. Thank you. The Mary Celeste was not a pirate ship. Of course, the Mary Celeste was not a pirate ship. I do know my history on the Mary Celeste. Thank you,
That was on an episode of In Search of with the great Leonard Nimoy.
Yes, it was. With the Sulu, or
Spock.
Oh my! Oh my!
No, that wasn't In Search of.
No. Oh
no.
Carpenter is the best, a true legend. Robert Bolton, good to see you, Robert Bolton. Hit that thumbs up, subscribe, and all that good stuff. We got horror movie reviews every Wednesday and Sunday night at 8 p.m. Eastern time.
Whether you like it or not.
Whether you like it or not.
It's going down.
Yeah. Legend of Hell House is next.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I know how much Dino loved and admired the great Roddy McDowall. Didn't you just love him?
Oh, I did. Yes. Yeah. Mainly for the role of Cornelius in the Planet of the Apes series, but he was in a lot of very cool.
He was in a couple episodes of Columbo. He could play a good villain.
Roddy McDowall was awesome. I mean, listen, he was one of those rare characters or people who just had an essence about him, and the voice, like you could tell him from anywhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
His voice, his character, his expressions, who he was. You know, that's why Cornelius. It's Roddy McDowall. It's not Cornelius. You see that in the mask itself. I mean,
Well, yeah. And the woman who played Zira.
Yeah, Kim Hunter. Yes, yes. And Edward G. Robinson almost played Zaius, which was very interesting. That would have been neat, but the actor who did end up playing him was awesome. Yeah, yeah. The entire cast was awesome. Anyways, yeah. Yeah, so Legend of Hell House coming up, and then we will be doing a couple more Giallo films, and then I'll be posting some more. Listen, these are supposed to be some. I know we've said that before. We've said it before, but no. Then we got The Omen, and then we got The Red Queen Kills 7 Times.
Giallo. Just from the title that it's Giallo.
Oh yeah, and listen, when I do, hopefully by end of next summer, the short film that I got going, it's going to be a long name.
With your kids, yes, I want to hear about that. Emily's here. Hi, Emily. Thank you for checking in, sweetie.
Yeah, Emily, good to see you. Been listening, y'all. Great. This original favorite of mine. Awesome. Hopefully everything's going well.
With
Many
you and
prayers
Steve.
always. But the name of the film, which when you start finding out about it, will be a long title in the vein of these classic Giallo films.
And they packed everything in there. They could put Queen, they put the number 7, they had to put a color, red.
Yes. I have not, I don't think there's any Giallo fan films that are done in the vein of replicating the original 70s style, not the 80s like Dario. I'm going more for the overdubbing, the acting, the man in the outfit. Listen, you're going to be. You've seen this then? No. There's scenes that still need to be filmed. So it by no means.
I thought. You were talking about your movie that you're making with your kids.
Yes.
I thought you were talking about this Red Queen Kills 7 Times.
Oh no.
Okay.
No.
Sorry.
But we got the Red Queen Kills 7 Times, and then we got the Strange Vice of Mrs. Ward. And
I've heard a lot about that one too as a classic Giallo.
Yeah, that's got Fenich in it too. The buxom brunette. Oh no, I can't say brunette. We've had this discussion before. She's got black hair. But I forget if we said black hair is kind of in that. Anyways, we're not going to talk about it. Anyways, Roddy was good in Fright Night. Oh, I thought Ginger froze up. Beirut Wedding. By the way, I love y'all's radio broadcast. Thank you. This is my first time listening to your reviews. Oh, good. Yeah, Beirut Wedding. Have you ever chatted or even said hello? Because the name does look familiar. I think I remember you, but a long time ago.
Hey, Harry.
Anyway, is Harry here? Harry Scott. Hey, what's going on?
Stick around for the tractor pull, Harry.
Any super chats coming yet? No.
But we did have the great horror junkie gift a.
Oh yes. Super chats always welcome.
Gotta pay the bills.
Oh my God. And get over to Patreon if you want extra fun stuff. So anyways.
Yes, Friday night we're doing Psycho.
Yes, it's www.patreon.com/The Late Late Horror Show. Just go to Patreon and put The Late Late Horror Show in or
you have the links right here.
Yeah, they do, but I don't know how many people go down below the video and look at the description because all the links are there. Nope, first time interacting. Okay. Gotcha, Beirut Wedding. Very good. It's a good gothic Giallo, Mike Barrett says. Well, listen, I can't wait to discuss it with you, Mike, on when we do the movie. So it's gonna be fun. With that said, Ginger, it's been another one in the bag, so to speak, like we always say. So to speak. What?
We don't ever say that.
We don't ever say that is right. Yeah. That's kind of weird that I even mentioned that. This has been an odd discussion, hasn't it?
Aren't they all?
Yes,
They are.
I believe so. I guess it just depends on the topic or movie we're discussing, whether people care to put
You
up with
make
our
it weird, Dino.
nonsense.
You always make it weird
Well, you know, that's
with your bits and whatever it is you do.
they're not bits. It's me being me. If you can't deal with it, jump ship. Jump the pirate ship. I gave her the last word last time. This time I'm going
Not
to give.
intentionally. You certainly didn't mean to.
What's it? The last word on the last review was Christopher Cross.
Christopherson. Was it Christopherson or Christopher Cross?
No, it was Christopher Cross.
Oh, because we were talking about a theme song that he sang. Yes.
Yeah, sailing.
No, it wasn't Sailing.
Take me away.
No.
Well, no.
It was Goodbye Girl. It was Goodbye Girl.
Yes. Yes. That is correct. Oh, I think we've had it. See you guys at the Christmas Crime Overnight. Well, yeah, you want me to say it? Christmas Crime Detective Mystery Old Time Radio shows all night long. So there you go. Jimmy D's already there. Hey, Jimmy D, giving a wave. I'm over there
See
now.
you all
you guys.
in the chat.
Yeah,
thanks, Dino. It's been real.
The sailor pirate angle was fascinating. Yeah, we're gonna do a whole show on sailors, mariners, and pirates,
and the differences thereof.
Of sailors, pirates,
mariners,